What's going on, guys? It's Cliffy here. Now, we've been pretty successful so far in our BR Pro career mode. The Cheetahs do see themselves top of the South African Conference, or one of the South African conferences, heading into this round 11 game with the Bulls. So hopefully we can go and keep that up. Nice wee kick to start off from Cliff. And the kicking meters goal has been completed already, and that's a nice kick down towards the 22. And for some reason there, I thought I was actually the flanker. And if our players could have got to the ball a little bit quicker, we could have potentially been looking at a turnover there. But not quite the case. And we will just go and continue on. So as I said, we are in round 11. So we've got, well, we are past halfway. And from memory, 18 rounds, I believe, is what is played now in the new Super Rugby format. So not really too long left to go. Probably just another couple of videos until we do get to the business end of the tournament, the semi-finals, the playoffs, all that stuff. So it will be very interesting to see what happens when it comes to those games. And that's a great tackle from Cliffy. Absolutely great tackle. He's just laying on the ground. Not too sure why. But yeah, hopefully he decides to get up soon, Cliffy. There we go. Finally, he's up and about, running around. That's what we like to see. But I don't really know what else to talk about, to be honest. We've had a pretty good run of results. As I said, we are currently top of our South African Conference. Don't know where we sit in the grand scheme of things against the other sides. And that's a good bit of pressure by us. Forward pass by the Bulls gives us a scrum in very good field position, just outside the 22 on this right-hand side of the field. So we can look at going and potentially running a type of set piece. Not that we really do that here at the Cheetahs. We just pass the ball and run. There's no real set pieces about it. I'm not sure if this game does have set pieces that you can go and choose from. I'm guessing it probably would somewhere along the lines. Cliffy, that is an outrageous offload. I should have just kept running, to be honest. But, hey, there's another knock on. If I dove on the ball, that actually probably would have worked out worse for us, because it would have been a penalty rather than just a scrum. So, a little bit of a messy start by the Cheetahs so far. And we'll just look at going, settle things up. You know, it has been 20 minutes. We have had a little bit of possession, which we didn't have in Tuesday's video. I think by this stage in the game in Tuesday's video, I think we had touched the ball. I think 3 players had touched the ball and we knocked it on and gave it back to the Brumbies. So we're looking to go and not do that here today. Keep some possession, and we do need to watch out because all of a sudden, big breakaway is on, but what a tackle from Willie LaRue to go and play him into touch just like that there, and we will take that line out. And that's a good bit of defensive play. We just need to make sure we get our hands on the ball, because that's something we have been struggling with lately, is keeping that position and keeping that territory as well, so playing it down their end. Nice to see us win a line out, because that doesn't usually happen either. Big cutout pass from Cliffy. And then the inside ball. That's lovely play from the Cheetahs. We are playing some great football so far here today. Oh, Cliffy. You've given it away, son. Given it away at a crucial area. And now the ball's going to run through. I don't know why he has done that, though. I do not know why, when he's basically one-on-one with the fullback, he has gone for the up and under. I mean, I can understand going for a grubber, but the up and under, really? Is it needed? Is the big bomb needed inside the enemy territory? Inside the enemy 22, especially when there isn't too much going on. And speaking of not much going on, we'll take the scrum, thanks. Because I'm just going and breaking through tackles. Not that it matters, because it was, well, we were under playing advantage. And it's been a pretty scrappy first 30 minutes to this game. So we're looking to go have a steady scrum here. Possibly look at maybe drilling it into the corner. If we can win this scrum, though, because it's not looking good at the moment. Oh my goodness. I must say, our playmaking skills have been terrible today. This has just been I don't know what it is, but this has been a terrible game. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but it's been a terrible game for me to watch. So I don't know what you guys are thinking right now. But just the 4 minutes left to go, and hopefully we can go and just bang this in at half time, reset, and come out stronger. Because the first half from both teams, not just us, have been incredibly, incredibly scrappy. So hopefully that can change, as I said, heading into the second half, because it's not what we want. Good kick. I was going to say, don't kick it for touch. Don't go into touch, mate. If you went into touch, you could have at least gone after the full-time siren. Sorry, the half-time siren. And it's good to see the Bulls stadium, as we can see up in the top tier, is completely empty. Completely empty. It's good to see their fans are turning out. Then again, I think they do only have 7 points this term, so from 11 games, that is pretty disappointing. And it is something we kind of have come to expect. It is hard to talk about now because obviously we are in an international break at the moment. But for me, because South Africa now have 6 teams, and personally I don't think they have the talent. Like, this would be the same as if New Zealand brought in a 6th team into Super Rugby. I think it would be a disaster, to be honest, because as soon as you start adding more teams, and this is why leagues around New Zealand and Australia haven't gone for this big expansion just yet, is because now that they have that 6th team, it does mean that the talent is spread even more, and I don't think there is enough talent. I mean, there is definitely talent in South African rugby, but I don't think there's enough talent to spread across 6 teams to make them all fairly competitive. And that is why when you come up against a lot of South African teams, or why when teams have come up against South African teams, they have absolutely pummeled them. Because there's a lot of teams, I think the new team that came in, the Southern Kings I think they're called, basically from what I have heard, is that they are almost an amateur team. They are a semi-professional team that is just made up, basically, I think the competition under Super Rugby for South Africa, I don't know why I had a mind blank there, but for South Africa, I believe it's called the Curry Cup from memory. And the Curry Cup is, you know, like most like most domestic competitions, you know, I would say probably semi-professional rather than amateur. You know, a lot of the guys that probably play in it do have other jobs. It's the same here in New Zealand. You know, a lot of the players who do play, you know, just for Canterbury, just for Wellington, just for Tasman, they do have other jobs as well. You know, rugby isn't their breadwinner, I guess you would say. And finally, we do not too bad of a pass. I was going to say, we have been struggling with that big, long cutout one to date so far. Finally we go down. Finally we go down. Finally we get a bit of possession. But yeah, I think that is why, you know, that reason is like that there. And you take a team, you know, like I'm trying to think, you know, like the Sunwolves, and I think, you know, that it is their first year in the competition, so of course, yes, they are going to be struggling a little bit. But, you know, you take someone like the Jaguares, who are playing very, very well in their first season. So I think it really just does come down to that depth. I did also hear about that new South African franchise. Again, I think it's the Southern Kings. I could potentially be wrong. But, yeah, I believe from memory it was them. They did have a big sponsorship deal as well, and that went and fell through. So they couldn't go and sign any players. They were having to sign players on the cheap. And as I said, a lot of them were just Curry Cup players. So rather than going and I guess doing what, you know, some franchises do, and obviously going and picking up players who don't necessarily come from the country that the team is based in, but they can go and pick up players that do play elsewhere. Come on, boys, we need a try. We need a try, boys. You know, they go and play in other countries, but they have been gone and signed. I mean, Zach Guilford comes to mind. I think he's playing for the Waratahs this year. Albie Mathewson played, I think, go son. Beautiful. About time we scored a try. Albie Mathewson, I think, who used to be the former Auckland halfback. I believe he was playing for the Force last season, possibly. Again, I could be wrong. But, you know, that is, I guess, what teams do when they don't quite have the talent or the talent pool to pick from in the area. They do go and look abroad and do that. I mean, the Chiefs, I think, have got 2 Japanese national team players in there. I think the Highlanders have one as well. So it is just really about that. It is about the recruitment, and I guess, you know, the strengthening of the sides. And having sides, I think, you know, as they have gone and expanded it, I think it would have been a little bit tough to do, you know, what they have done and just included the two new teams, which were the Jaguares and the Sunwolves, which I think always were going to happen because, you know, Argentinian rugby in the last, let's say, 8 years has really gone on leaps and bounds and has really excelled big time, and can really now put it up with the big boys. I mean, they made the semi-finals of the World Cup, lost, I think, to Australia on a little bit of a controversial call, I think, or possibly that was Australia's game against Scotland. I'm not 100% sure again. My memory doesn't really stretch back that far, but you know, they have gone and taken leaps and bounds. And I guess Japan as well. Japan were a team that, you know, not a lot of people had heard too much about. Going back in my memory bank, I think possibly 2003, I think New Zealand played Japan in the World Cup, and I think we won by 100 points or something like that, or put 100 points on the board. So for them to come in the latest edition of the competition and obviously beat the Springboks as they did, it does show again the leaps and bounds that they have made in the last 12 years, and they are going and actually hosting the tournament in the 2019 edition. So it does show how much the game has grown there. And I think that's why, you know, having these teams, having these provincial teams, these domestic teams that are playing in a big competition is only going to help strengthen rugby. And I think that is what, you know, a lot of people do want, because rugby does seem to be, I don't want to say an elitist sport, but it seems to be a sport that, you know, doesn't really grow. And when it comes to World Cup time, you know, it's basically going to be the All Blacks, it's going to be the English, it's going to be the Australians, the South Africans that are going to win. And I think it is still going to be like that for a little while. But I think with some of the talent that is coming through, obviously from these Southern Hemisphere teams and the Northern Hemisphere teams that we saw their results on the weekend, obviously Ireland have always been a strong side. They beat us, no, they beat South Africa, sorry, and then England beating Australia as well. It does show that, you know, Northern Hemisphere rugby is still very strong, and it is still a force to be threatened with. So not a very eventful game here today, just the 5 points to 0, and I'm going to wrap things up here, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time.